Shalom Aleichem. Every davar shebikdusha needs hachana. Every mitzvah we do, every experience of kedusha requires preparation. And before every one of the Yomim Tovim, we need to prepare ourselves in order to be able to receive the kedusha, the holiness and the light of these special days. And of all the Yomim Tovim, there is no Yom Tov that we prepare for as much as for the Yom Tov of Pesach. Most of our preparations are in the realm of the physical, all avodas Hashem, but physical nonetheless. We're busy cleaning our homes, buying Yom Tov supplies, koshering our kitchens, cooking meals kosher lePesach, and of course all of these preparations are integral to the experience of Pesach. But at the same time, and more so, we need to prepare ourselves beruchnius, we need to prepare ourselves spiritually. And we are so grateful to Ohr Somayach for providing this opportunity to stop and think and to focus on the ideas that will help to prepare us spiritually as we go towards the great Yom Tov of Pesach. In the Haggadah, we say the Mishnah in Maseches Pesachim. Rabbi Gamliel hoya oimer, Kol shloima shloisha dvarim elu bePesach lo yotzo yedei chivosei. Rabbi Gamliel said, anyone who doesn't discuss these three matters on Pesach at the Seder, lo yotzo yedei chivosei, hasn't fulfilled his chiyuv, his requirement. Ve'elu hein. And these are the three ideas that we must talk about: Pesach, Matzah, Maror. And then the Mishnah goes on to explain Pesach al shum sheposach HaKadosh Baruch Hu al botei aviseinu b'Mitzrayim. Korban Pesach is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu passed over Klal Yisrael during Makas Bechiris. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us, He singled us out. Korban Pesach teaches the chosenness, the Asher Bochar Bonu, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us to be His. Matzah al shum shelo hispik betzeikom shel aviseinu lahachmitz ad sheniglo alei melech malchei HaKadosh Baruch Hu u'geolam. When Hashem redeemed us, our does didn't have the time to rise because we were redeemed in a hurry, b'chipozing. And so Matzah teaches Geula. Hashem redeemed us. And finally, Maror al shum shemereru hamitzrim eschaye aviseinu b'Mitzrayim. Maror reminds us of the bitterness, of the shibud, of the servitude, of the inui, of the affliction that we suffered in Mitzrayim. Pesach, Matzah, and Maror. And the question is that Pesach, Matzah, and Maror are not in chronological order. First we experienced the Maror. First we were enslaved. First we suffered. First we went through the bitterness, and then Pesach, then we were chosen, and then Matzah, then we were redeemed. The order should be Maror and then Pesach Matzah. Why Pesach Matzah Maror? Leil HaSeder, Seder night, is a night of questions. Lots of questions. And perhaps the hardest question of them all is the question of Maror. Shebechol haleilos onu oichlim she'o yerokos halaylo hazeh kuloi Maror. Tonight is Maror. Tonight we remember the bitterness. And the question of Maror is a question that's so hard to answer. Because the more we understand, the clearer we are on the truth that Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is the Almighty, that everything that happens is Him. The more we understand that, the more puzzled we are by the Maror. The more we find ourselves asking, if Hashem does everything, then why did He put us into Mitzrayim in the first place? Why did He enslave us? Why did He make us go through so much pain? We know, we recognize that He's the Goyel, He's the Redeemer, that the Geula comes from Him. But why is there so much Golus? Then, in Mitzrayim, V'ad hayoim, until today, why so much Golus? Why so much pain? Why so much suffering? Why is there so much Maror? And the truth is that Yidden, through the ages, Yidden who are Ma'aminim, B'nei Ma'aminim, didn't even ask the question. Yidden knew, they knew from the deepest place that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, is good, that Ovinu Ha'ov Harachmon, that our Father is Merachim, is a merciful Father, and they knew that you don't ask questions to a father. The story is told of the great Belzer Rebbe, Reb Aaron Mibelz, when he, Reb Aaron, was a young boy, and he was at his father's Seder. So it was after Lachmo Anyo, it was the time to ask the man Ishtano. And his father said, "Nu Arala, man Ishtano." And Arla didn't say the man Ishtano. And his father said, "Arla, don't you have questions to ask? Now's the time. Tata leben, ich will dich fragen, the 4 kashes. Now's the time to ask Tata, your father, the questions." And Arla looked at his father and he said, "Nein," he said, "No. Tzia Tata fragt man nicht kin kashes." We don't ask questions of a father. That was the emunah throughout the doiros, throughout the generations. But we, many of us and our children, do find ourselves asking, why? Why is there so much Maror? And although we know that until Mashiach comes, we won't be able to answer this question clearly. We won't know the real answer. But until that time, we need to be mechazik ourselves. We need to strengthen ourselves and to find at least some perspective in understanding why halaylo hazeh Maror. The Maral, in his Drush al HaTorah, brings a medrash. The medrash is explaining a pasuk in Pashas Yisro, where the Torah says that before receiving the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu sent his father-in-law Yisro back to Midian. Vayeshalach Moshe es chosnoi. Moshe sent his father-in-law away before Matan Torah. And the Medrash brings a pasuk in Mishlei. The pasuk says, "Leiv yoidea moras nafshoi, uvsimchosoi lo yisorav zo." Leiv yoidea moras nafshoi. Every heart knows its own bitterness. Every person knows his own suffering. Uvsimchosoi lo yisarav zo. But no stranger will share in his joy. And the Medrash says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Oma HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem said, Bonai hoyu meshubodim betitu levenim. My children were being enslaved with cement, with mortar, with bricks. The Yisroi, and during that time, Yisroi hoyoyoshe bevesei bebetach uvahashket. Yisroi was sitting calm and relaxed at home. Uva liris besimchas haTorah, and now he wants to join, he wants to experience the simchas haTorah. That can't be. Yisro can't be there at Matan Torah because he didn't experience the shibud. He didn't suffer in Mitzrayim. Leiv yoidea moras nafshay uvesimchosoi lo yisarov zah. A stranger can't be involved in Klal Yisrael's simcha. And the Maral asks, what is Shibud Mitzrayim to do with Matan Torah? Why is it that just because Yisro didn't suffer, he's not able to experience the Simchas HaTorah? And the Maral explains, because Torah, the greatest gift in the world, the gift of Torah HaKdosha, was only possible. Klal Yisrael were only able to receive Torah because of Shibud Mitzrayim. It was through the Shibud Mitzrayim, the Koir HaBazel, that refined them, that enabled them to become the people who could receive the Torah. Kabbalas HaTorah was only possible through Mitzrayim. And Yisro, who hadn't suffered the moras nafsha, he hadn't suffered the bitterness, he didn't experience the Maror, he wasn't able to take part in Kabbalas HaTorah. Ki ha-yisurin, says the Maral, suffering heim hachona atzmis le-Kabbalas HaTorah b'yosa, are an essential preparation for Kabbalas HaTorah. And the Maral goes on to explain that the greatest gifts of life are available only through suffering. Suffering is part of the picture. Suffering is the way we're able to become people who are worthy, who are muchen umzummen, who are available to receive these gifts. And whilst so often we don't understand, but we know that's the emes, we know be'emunah shalema, that all of our suffering has a purpose, that all of our suffering is part of the process. Rabbeinu Yonah in Shari Tshuva, when he speaks about bitochin, he writes so beautifully, V'yehi shal habiteach b'Hashem lehoichil mimeuf tzukosoi. One who trusts Hashem has to be hopeful, even from the midst of the darkness of his distress. Even when he's in the middle of the Maror, he has to be hopeful, and he has to know Ki yeh hachoshech sibas ha'oiro, that the darkness will be the cause of the light. And he brings a posuk in Micha, Kemoishe Kosuv, Al tismechi oyavti li, ki nofalti komti, ki eshev b'choshech Hashem oir li. Al tismechi oyavti li, the posuk says, do not rejoice over me, my enemy, when you see me suffer. Ki nofalti komti, because though I have fallen, I will rise. Ki eshev b'choshech, though I sit in the darkness, Hashem oirli, Hashem is my light. And kipshutoi, the simple understanding of the posuk is that even though I have fallen, I will rise again. Even though I am in the darkness, Hashem will shine his light on me. It will be light again. But Chazal say, says Rabbeinu Yonah, that the posuk is saying that it's because I fell that I will rise. Ilmole nofalti loy kamti. Had I not fallen, I never would have risen. Ilmole yoshavti b'choshech lehoyo early. Had I not sat in darkness, I never would have experienced light. So al tismechi oyavti li. Don't rejoice over my downfall, because it's through this downfall, it's through this choshech, that I'm going to be experiencing the oir, the light. Ki yeh hachoshech sibas ha'oiro. The darkness is the cause, is what brings the light. Rav Hutner Zecher Tzadik Livrocha used to say that if a Yid says, Sved zayin gut, it will be good, he said that's not true bitochen. Of course, it's a level of bitochen to say it will be good. But it's not bitochen b'shleimus, it's not complete bitochen. True bitochen, he says, is the understanding of Rabbeinu Yonah, ki yeh hachoshech siba sa'oiro, that the pain I'm going through, the struggle, the challenge, the difficulty is what will create the geula, the redemption, the oiro, the light. The Masechta, the tractate that talks about the laws of Pesach, Maseches Psochim, begins with a halacha of bedikas chometz, of searching for the chometz, on the night of the 14th of Nisan, the night before Pesach. And the Mishnah begins, these are the first words in Maseches Psochim, Oir la'arba oso boidkim es hachometz le'oir haner. On the night of the 14th, we're required to search for chometz by the light of a candle. The word for night here is oir, is light. And Chazal explained that this is a euphemism. Our sages explain that the Mishnah uses light for darkness. It's a manner of speech. It's a refined way of speaking. It's called L'shoin Sagi Nohor. When we speak about a blind person, we talk of him as someone who's full of light. And so, Oir La'arba also, which means the night of the 14th, is referred to as Oir, the light of the 14th. But when we look through Shas, when we look through all the other Masechtas in Shas, there are many times that the Mishnayos speak about night or evening and don't call night Oir. Night is called Lailo, Leil, the night, or Erev, the evening. Why here is night called light? And what the Mishnah is telling us here at the beginning of Maseches Psochim is that the overwhelming lesson of Pesach is that Lailo Kayoim Yoir, that night not just will become light, but that within the night there is light. That Lailo can be called Oir, because the light that we're walking towards is created through, because of the Lailo that we're experiencing. After eating Matzah and Maror, there's the mitzvah of Korech. We take the Matzah and Maror and we make a sandwich, the Korech sandwich, everyone's favorite sandwich. And Hillel was the one. Hillel hoya Korech Matzah Maror. We say this as we eat Korech. Hillel would do this. He would sandwich Matzah and Maror together in order to fulfill the Pasuk al Matzahs Umroirim Yoichlu. And the Sfas Emes explains the idea, the secret of Korech is that Matzah represents Geula. Matzah, as we learned, is the mitzvah that reminds us of our redemption. Maror is the slavery, is the bitterness, is the pain, is the suffering. And Hillel says we have to put the two together and eat them as one. Because Maror and Matzah, Matzah and Maror are not two stories. It's not that we were first enslaved and then Hashem, so to speak, changed his mind and redeemed us. But the Maror was an integral part of our story, that we were only able to get to the Matzah through the Maror. And again, although whilst this happens, it's so hard to understand, but we know, Be'emunah Shalema, we know, that's the way we are built. That's the way we are zeicha. That's the way we are able to receive the greatest gifts of life. As we say in Tefillah every day, Melech Meimis Umechaya, umatzmiach Yeshua. Hashem is the king who is meimis. He puts to death. But then he's Mechaya, he brings life. And through that process of meimis umechaya, he's matzmiach Yeshua. He causes salvation to sprout. The truth is that it's only after we experience Geula, it's only when we come to the end of the story, when we're redeemed, that we're perhaps able to see, to understand why the Maror was necessary, why the Maror was a part of the process. And that's why on Leil Seder, on Seder night, when we speak about Yetzias Mitzrayim, Maror comes after Pesach and Matzah. Because it was only after we were chosen, after we were redeemed, that we were able to truly celebrate Maror. Able to truly thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not just for the Matzah, but for the Maror. Able to truly understand that this was all part of the picture. And so first Pesach and Matzah, and then Maror. But at the same time, when we sit at the Seder, we mechazik ourselves, we strengthen ourselves with the emunah, that all the Maror that we're still experiencing, all the choshech, all the darkness, throughout our history and until today, all of that is choshech sibas ha'oira, is choshech that's bringing about the oira. And that this choshech has a purpose. It has the greatest purpose, and that it is taking us to a place that's kulei or. We finished the Seder with a pisma in Chad Gadyo. The Chasam Sofer explains that all the characters in Chad Gadyo represent the different world forces that seek to destroy us, Am Yisrael, who are compared to Chad Gadyo, to the one little kid, the cat and the dog and the stick and the fire. They are all the nations of the world that seek to destroy us. And they think that they've managed, they think they've succeeded, but the end of every stanza finishes Chad Gadyo, despite all of their attempts, we remain Chad Gadyo, we remain that one little kid. And perhaps we could add Lefi Devorenu with this understanding that it's not just we remain Chad Gadyo, but we understand that it's through all of that suffering, through all of that challenge, through the fact that B'chol doir v'doir oimdim aleinu l'chaliseinu, and every generation the nations attempt to destroy us, that's what makes us. That's what creates the Chad Gadyo, because of the Shunra, because of the Kalbo, because of the cat and the dog and the stick and the fire, we become Chad Gadyo. We, all of Klal Yisrael, are coming to Pesach this year, to Pesach Tov Shian Pei Daled, after so much Maror. We've lived through a winter of Maror. We've lived through a time that none of us can remember. None of us have ever experienced anything like this. It's been so difficult. There's been so much suffering. Klal Yisrael, as a nation, have suffered so much. So many yechidim, so many individuals have experienced so much more. And this year, perhaps more than ever, we need to internalize the limud of Korech, the understanding that the Maror is an integral part of the process. That Matzah and Maror together are what creates Klal Yisrael, ki yeh hachoshech sibas ha'oira, and that everything, absolutely everything that we're going through as a nation and as individuals is part of a process that is leading to something which is so uplifted, so elevated, so special, so molei simcha, and that we're moving towards the Yom Shekulei Toiv, the ultimate Geula, when V'noima Lefonov Shira Chadosha, we'll sing a new song, a song that has never been sung before, a song where we thank Hashem, not just for the Matzah, but for the Maror too. Chag Kosher V'Somayach.
Hi, this is Peretz Baruch Eichler, a proud alumnus of Ohr Somayach. Now what you just watched is one of the many programs that Ohr Somayach provides, leaving its impact on hundreds of thousands with so many more waiting to be reached. Ohr Somayach's central campus in Jerusalem has over 300 students presently learning there. And now you can be a vital part of spreading that bounty of knowledge worldwide by logging on to donate.ohr.edu. We can step up to the plate at this pivotal moment of Ohr Somayach's growth and bring the next generation of Jews home.